All right,
Hi,
you're on.
I'm Valerie Adinolfi, collage artist. I typed up this whole thing of what my process is and where it comes from, and I decided to keep it simple. And 1989, I was 3 years sober. It's hard to believe it'll be 40 years. 3 years sober, and I decided I wanted to take a class. And I studied the Ageless Wisdom, the Kabbalah, which led into Tarot, which already symbols are dancing around in my head. And then I decided I was going through so many changes that I decided I think I'll do assemblage. There's this class offered, and I'm gonna get window frames, and I'm gonna have body parts of dolls and blood, and I think that'll depict where I'm coming from. And I took the class, I got in the class first few times, and it just didn't resonate. And the third class, I came in with canvas, much to the disgust. She was a little bit like, what? I said, I thought I'd work on canvas. I thought I'll just cut up things. And the first piece, I almost brought it because I kept it. It says, it's my number 3 for 3 years, and to her senses. And that's how it started. Jameson and I, my dear partner who passed away in 2020, he took out the Murphy's bed in our apartment on Piedmont Avenue in Oakland, California, and put in this old oak dining table. And that's where I worked. And I worked though. I also worked full time. And so I would squeeze in these collages. These here actually are from here. They're from 24 and 25 when I arrived I'm from Saratoga Springs, so I really think it's in my DNA, the botanical and the architectural, because it's such a beautiful city. But it's also a city that you can only go as far as your father, and I didn't have a father, so it catapulted me to move. So I spent 43 years in, I talked to Kathy about, I was headed to California, and I went to Chapel Hill, and oh my gosh, and I just had fun. And then I came to California, and my friend Chrissy Bloomingdale said, she did this little blurb about me, and she said, it's because we're from Saratoga that my love of, I'm not a gardener, I'm a tourist, but I'm not everybody says, oh, do you garden? I don't, but I get to cut out flowers. And I get, these actually in a way are pages of a journal, each is very individual. They take me sometimes 2 days, sometimes a whole day, but I have it in my head. And I think if anybody saw the video that Craig took of me, he got it out of me that I no longer have a big room with an antique drafting table. I sit at a TV tray and typically watching Perry Mason. It's the truth. I kind of in criminal intent now because I have a crush on Vincent what's his name? D'Onofrio. And so I've been into that, but I always have to have some kind of noise that just fits my mood. So I guess I should say that a lot of the moths and butterflies are, their intuition, and the flowers, especially the pink roses, are romantic. Now, I would like to point out that the women in both of those, the flower with the flowers, is the same person. It's just been the juxtaposition. I like them to be familiar, but mildly uncanny. And so people can kind of get their own impression. In a weird way, I have done most of a tarot deck. I'm a tarotist and have been, that came out of the studies of the Kabbalah and Tarot and the Tree of Life. And all those symbols I was able to project those onto my collages. So I feel like they're very symbolic personally. So you get to have that feeling for yourself. Yeah, I love them. I love insects, I love nature, I love the idea that I can take branches that are naked, that typically mean death. You know, when you look it up, I go, oh, I love this. I love the burden of gravity, and she looks so relaxed. But I look up naked branches, and it's death. I go, oh, okay, she's not dead. She's fantasizing because it's a matter of self-preservation. That's me. Everything is, I'm curious, I fantasize, I have a imagination. A friend of mine sent me a little blurb that I have in my art room. She wears black, but she has an active imagination. So I think that kind of sums me up. That's it.
Any questions?
Yeah, do you start with an idea?
Oh yeah, color. Like I'll look at that and I think, oh, I like that teal and fuchsia together, and I'll find, and universe provides me an image. I dragged out of 86 boxes, 43 years in Oakland. I downsized to the max, got rid of everything. 86 boxes came here, 10 of those were art supplies. So, you know, yeah, I typically, and also it's a mood. I can tell, like I'll look at an image and I'm not in that mood. I have a lot of different things I do. I finished 25, a friend of mine gave me 50s nursing magazines, so I did 25 collages that are very simple. Then another neighbor gave me Scientific America, and I did 25 of those. And then I did the 28-day fun a day thing with fashion magazines. And because I get Vogue and Bazaar and Elle so that I can, because I like to do jelly plates for backgrounds. And that was a hard one. Consumerism and the fashion industry, it really kind of bummed me out, so I really made fun. The juxtaposition of, so, and I think that's, speaking of, I think I love the idea that some of these just are not likely, that blasé, how wonderful to be sitting there and okay with bees. You know, I just love that idea. And in Oakland one time, someone who had come to a show said, how do you get away with cutting up other artists? I said, I haven't run into a pre-Raphaelite in Oakland yet. So I pretty much stick to what I can get away with. Anyone?
Could you tell me your process a little bit? Because when I first looked at these, I thought they were paintings.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't.
that's always been my goal. That's been my goal, is to have it look like a painting.
It's so seamless.
There's a famous metalsmith sculptor in Berkeley, Martin Mattel. You can look him up. He's the most magnificent man. He's been dead a few years, but he would come into the cafe that's housed in our we had the first Uncommon Grounds, my partner and I, in Berkeley, and he would come in, and my first show was no frames, and my friends were insisting that I do this, and he came up and went, oh wow, how do you paint this? This is amazing, you capture, and I said, Martin, I don't, it's all cut up. It's all cut up. And he goes, oh. And I think he was really disappointed that he taught at Berkeley, so it was fine art that he was in. It's like, oh, she cuts him up. But anyway, yeah, so the process, this series, I have this old book. I love the idea that these pages kind of convey maybe a journal or a story. So that's where I start. I use some gel crayons, I have acrylics, I do some jelly plates backgrounds, and I like the layer. I love the idea of it looking, thank you Kathy for saying that, because that's really was my intent right from the get-go, is to have, though I've done some, I was telling Marty to look up Jess, because this is an artist that influenced me so much, and his stuff was just like a smattering of things, but they just were cohesive. And I started out like that, where I'd have it all like this mass of images. And it didn't resonate. There was something that felt incomplete. I needed to have a story, a portrait, things that I love, flowers and insects and stuff. So hence the results there. There's a lot more at my house if anybody wants to see them.
If I could just say a word, I watched create her work for years, and in detail. I mean, I really watched it, you know, like kind of hard and kind of like trying to figure it out. Never figured it out. Because I watch it. She goes, here, look at this. Look what I've done so far. And I'm like, oh man, here comes nothing. And then then she showed me again. I go, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then again, I go, oh. And then finally, wow.
Yeah. Oh, I marvel at myself. I do. I go, wow, I did that. I did that.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's my
amazing.
own personal story. It's and you get to look at it. It's your personal story, and so I feel Steve and the wonderful people. I feel I know I'm a newbie, and here I'm from Saratoga, born and raised, but I lived in Oakland for 43 years, and I've been here 2 years, and I'm blessed of meeting Steve and Craig. I met him one night at Moon and River, and Marty. We were at Key Hall. I think it was my first in the winter. Me staggering down the street. Afraid to even take a step, but it's just been, it's like,
not drunk, right?
no, I wasn't, no, I'm still sober. I feel like I've been so blessed, and this is such a wonderful community, and I just feel like I've hit who I am. And I have, at 76, I do have moments of why now? Why now? Why couldn't I have done that? This all and created it for myself as a young person. And what I realize is it's never too late. That's just it. It's just never too late. So thank you. Any questions? Any other questions? No?
Thanks, Val.
Thank you.